Hey, this is Martin from BigBoyPlants.com and welcome back to our channel. Here I am with my Calathea Medallion, or Calathea as we call it in Spanish. Something to keep in mind is that it is a pretty cool plant and it moves its leaves. And I think it's kind of a plant dancing, but it also likes to chill during the nights, especially. Now you might notice that the back of the leaves is green. It's quite different from other varieties that you might see online. I guess I have a sub variety. Alright, so for a plant beginner like me, I have found that it's not very complicated to take care of this plant. If you want to learn why, stay tuned. Okay, let's talk about watering. You should only water your Calathea Medallion when you notice that its soil is getting dry. This should happen between 1 or 2 times per week, depending on the place where you live and the placement of your plant. That's why we suggest checking your plant on a daily basis to monitor the soil moisture level and water it if it's needed. Regarding quantity, you should pace the watering. The goal here is to achieve even moisture on the soil top layer and allow the roots to absorb the fluid with all the nutrients. Personally, 8 ounces, that's about 250 milliliters, usually work well. However, you should do your own diligence and determine what's the right quantity that works for your plant. Keep in mind to check the pot drainage holes to make sure the water comes out. This will mean that the water is able to reach all the root levels and the drainage is working absolutely fine. Now let's talk about light and placement. The Calathea Medallion shows a strong preference for indirect bright light. In other words, places like windows, balconies, and rooms with good light levels are the right spot to place your Calathea Medallion. Kitchens are also recommended due to their high humidity. Avoid dark bedrooms or bathrooms if they don't get a good amount of indirect light during the day. Something to keep in mind is that they won't tolerate prolonged direct sunlight exposure, so make sure to adjust their position if you keep them outdoors or in a balcony. With this, you want to prevent excessive heat that can make the leaves scorch. Moving on to temperature and humidity. These plants prefer warm and very humid environments. It is suggested to keep them in temperatures between 60 and 80 Fahrenheit. That's about 16 to 27 degrees Celsius. Be mindful during winter and fall months, since they won't be able to stand cold drafts or the frost. You should also try to mimic as much as you can the humid conditions where these plants are native from, which is the tropical Americas. That's why it's very handy to mist around your plant with water every other day. Avoid spraying the leaves directly. Alternatively, if you live in a cold place or it's winter, you might consider placing your plant in a humidity pebble tray or next to a humidifier if you want to get more fancy. On to pruning. Pruning your Calathea Medallion is recommended to keep it strong and healthy. It is necessary to perform this caring task when the old leaves start dragging the energy from your plant, or perhaps some leaves get scorched because of the excessive sunlight exposure. When the time comes to prune your Calathea Medallion, keep in mind the following. Plan your cuts and identify which are the yellow or brownish leaves that you want to remove. Secondly, sterilize your pruning instrument. Make sure to apply some alcohol to your shears or sharp knife before performing any cutting. Then make the cuttings from the stem base. This is the spot where the leaf stem starts, close to the rhizome. And although Calathea medallions aren't toxic plants, we suggest that you wear gloves to protect your fingers and prevent your shears or knives from slipping off. Also, when it comes to hygiene or cleaning your plant, I would suggest wiping it off with a soft, clean tissue every week to clean the dust that can accumulate on its leaves and keep any pest away. Last but not least, let's take a look at some of the most frequently asked questions related to Calathea Medallion plants. Number one, when should I repot my Calathea Medallion? From what we have found on our research, you should repot your Calathea Medallion every 1 to 2 years. This will give it a chance to get fresh soil that is replenished with nutrients. Also, keep in mind that if you choose a bigger new pot, this shouldn't be more than 2 inches bigger in diameter versus the old pot. Alternatively, you can always keep the same pot unless you notice a significant root bound or expansion. Question number 2. How big does a Calathea medallion get? Calathea medallion plants can reach a height between 15 and 23 inches. That's about 40 to 60 centimeters. They are considered to be a fast-growing houseplant. Question number 3. Why are my Calathea medallion leaves curling? There are several reasons for this to happen. It could be that the soil from your plant is too dry. Make sure to water your plant frequently and try to keep it moist, as we said before, as much as you can. If you notice that the soil dried out completely and the leaves are curling or getting brown, you can soak water your plant by placing it in a tub filled with about 4 inches of cold water. Avoid using warm water. Let your plant absorb the water through the drainage hole until you notice that all the soil layers are moist evenly. You can poke your finger or use a chopstick to verify this. Another common cause for leaf curling could be that the water you're using it's very saturated with chlorine, salt, or fluoride. These minerals can remain seated in the leaves and cause little burns that cause the curling to happen. Last but not least, this issue could be related to improper temperature and humidity care. Make sure that your plant is not exposed to cooling vents or hot, dry air. Remember, you can increase the humidity by misting it around with some water. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope these guidelines are useful to grow your Calathea medallion healthily. Let me know your comments or questions below. Usual, we would love to learn what's working for you so we can as well adapt or change these guidelines. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up if you like this video. We're constantly publishing new content every week, so your feedback helps us a lot. Hope to see you next time, and until then, happy planting. Cheers.